So yeah, we're good or no, we're not?
We're live, y'all.
Live action. You guys remember that, the Turtle Man? Did you ever watch that guy? Oh, man.
No.
Really? Oh, I gotta find him.
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I forget what the name of the show. Maybe it was the Turtle Man. He would go into like ponds and stuff and pull snapping turtles out by their tails, like 12 like big snapping turtles. The kind of like bite your leg off.
Wow.
Or he'd go in and get like crawl spaces and pull out raccoons by their tail, like just.
I cleaned a snapping turtle once.
On purpose?
Well,
Did you cook it up?
After you catch it, yeah, you clean it.
My cousins swore by snapping turtles. Man, they'd catch them with sticks and then carry them in the backyard, put them in buckets, and then boil them, cook them up.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen where they like get their hands and they put it down and they get the giant catfish?
Noodling.
No, man.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I would love to do that.
Those guys all have like 3 fingers too.
Right.
That's true.
How do they not get bitten off?
I don't know.
Well, clearly they do.
I went noodling once, and I got 2 fingers left.
She didn't appreciate that, did she?
My background is messing us up.
Where is this live?
YouTube.
Yeah, you can kill your palm trees there if you need to get some bandwidth, or your video card might hate you. Live now. Look at that.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Is anybody watching us? Can we just go to Ryan and
say something? I see. Yeah, I'm looking at us. Oh, interesting.
Now, how do I kill these palm trees?
You're the one that started it.
I know.
Palm trees if you need to get some
boy, now we got.
Oh no, sorry. Look, there you are.
Look,
Yay. Look, Mom, no hands.
Look, Mom, you're on YouTube.
My daughter is so impressed. She saw Justin on YouTube, like just on the YouTube channel. She's like, I didn't know he was on YouTube. Like,
you're a YouTuber now.
Yeah.
That's what my daughter thinks it's so cool. She wants her own YouTube channel.
Maybe the YouTube headquarters will invite you up for their little annual event.
I love how Ryan, the Magic Man technology guy, can't get the palm trees off of his background.
It's all right.
He's stuck.
He's like the technical support guy. You call it, says, "Well, have you plugged it in?" That's always the
Ryan,
first.
Try rebooting.
Did you reboot your laptop?
Exactly.
All right. Should we go ahead and get started?
All right.
We good to go?
Yep, we're ready to start recording.
All right. Hey, we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Watchman Cigars, 1812 Barbecue, Blue Collar Cycle Shop, and Hook, Line, and Heroes. Without you, this episode would not be possible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast, where it's our take on life, liberty, and the pursuit of gravy, while you, the listener, are getting a degree in common sense. We are broadcasting from our blue-collar bunkers right here in beautiful Charlotte area, North Carolina. We've got a great show lined up for you, as always. But before we begin, let me introduce you to the starting lineup. We have Now You See Him, Now You Don't, Magic Man.
Hey, everyone.
We have our wonderful, illustrious producer, Brian.
Hey, guys.
I, of course, be your host, Biggun. And we have our special guest, Padre Justin.
How's it going?
And, of course, from across the way is the pride of Anderson, South Carolina. But most of you probably know him best as the Silver Tongue won 2016's Honorable Mention Motorcycle Salesman of the Year, the inventor of the Redneck Egg Roll. Give it up on old Mike number, Ocho. It's Mojo! How about you, buddy?
If you're listening to this podcast, you're not actually listening to a podcast. We've actually just scammed you into, we've actually been trying to reach you for your extended warranty. And if you'd like to proceed and renew, you need to press 1. Anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in for our latest episode of the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. You can find us on the YouTubes now, YouTube.com/SFP Radio. You can also find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/ Southern Fried Philosophy. You can also find us on the Twitters and Instagram at SFP Radio. Wherever you listen to your podcast, go hit subscribe, give us a like, a review, rating us how we move up in the old podcast algorithm. Also, if you're on YouTube, you can share this episode live right now or as it records, however that magic works. I'm not exactly sure about technology. Also, southernfriedphilosophy.com. You can find our playable links. There are some show notes in those links for episodes. That way you can fact check us, which we're pretty horrible at. But yeah, it's all there. But yeah, we appreciate all our new listeners and special ones out there hunkered down, trying to stay away from the Rona.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you'd like to subscribe and get 2 extra episodes from the SFP Insiders, check out our Patreon link at patreon.com/SFP Radio. If you give us $1, $2, $100, whatever you want to give, that would be great. For this month, we have also not taken any collections from that. We have not taken any deductions. So this is a perfect time to join. Just join now, get the 2 extra episodes, and then you can just cancel it. So that's the great thing about Patreon. You can cancel it whenever you want to. So once you hear it, cancel it, and then you're done. But no, check us out if you want to support us. That would be fantastic. Also, just want to say, if you think you can do a better job at a podcast, which you probably can, connect with our producer, Brian, at headlines@sfpradio.com, and he might be able to help at least point you in the right direction, edit it, make you sound like a beautiful stallion that you are. I don't know. I'm going to ask you guys, like I ask you every week, how you be doing? Magic Man, go for it. How you be doing? You finally got the thing off of there.
Yeah,
palm trees.
That's right. Finally figured that out. Hey,
welcome back.
Yeah, that's right. Back from fake vacation. I wish I was still there. No, good. Doing pretty good. Working full time. Grateful that I have a job and am able to do it from home. We had new windows put in our house the other day, which was a rather interesting experience to be here while windows were literally broken out of the house and a bunch of construction noise, holes in the walls where the windows were supposed to be, and then all of a sudden, boom, beautiful new windows.
So, wow, who'd you get them from?
Home Fix Custom Remodeling, I think it's who, HCR. Yeah,
they do a good job.
They did a good job. The only problem is, and this is nothing bad on them. When they were installing the bottom sash in the kitchen window, they accidentally dropped the sash and broke the window out. So they put some metal panels in place and are having a new one manufactured, and we'll have it back to our house here probably about a week and a half, they said, and they'll come in and install it. But the warranty is awesome. It's a 50-year warranty, transferable, and it covers everything. So if I was
to transfer it to your next house, is that how that works?
I wish, but I can transfer it to the next owner if we move out before then.
So what's the pollen count inside your house now after you had the windows out?
They got Flex Seal. They got Flex Seal around the edging there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't know about the pollen count, but I'll tell you the bug count was pretty high the other day. But I think between the cats and the dogs we have in the house, that's pretty much been taken care of, fortunately.
So let me get this right. If somebody wants to break into your house, they just go to your kitchen window and then they can just climb in the back? Is that what's going on?
Nope. They've put the sash in. They just have metal in place of the window, so it's actually even better. So the problem is it's opaque, so there's no light coming
in. In theory, if someone was to go to said house, where would that toilet paper be hiding?
Yeah, what room do you keep the toilet paper in? That's the question.
Well, I hate to disappoint everybody, but we didn't really do any hoarding here. So, yeah, so we got our eyes out for toilet paper. And Biggun, I know you've been kind to notify us when you've seen some are out and about. I just need to be able to get out and get some.
I've tried. I've been to the Harris Teeter, been to the Publix, and I've texted you and said, "Does anybody need toilet paper?" I don't get a response, and then I leave. So I'll be glad to pick it up if I see it again.
JT, the Biggun, you're the man.
Yeah, we do what we can. Producer Brian, how you been doing?
Well, I've had a song stuck in my head
for
over a week now, and it's kind of driving me crazy. I can't. It just won't go away. And I don't know what to do about it. Corona won't stop. Like constantly, I can't. It just won't stop. That won't stop in my head. Like I'll just be sitting at my desk and like, oh, that song is still there.
All right, so here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you some professional advice because I read this, I think, on Esquire. A scientist have decided that the Night Court theme song is the number one song to get another song out of your head. So if you just play that a few times, it should dissipate.
Oh man, if only I had the Night Court theme song on my.
Have you guys seen the Instagram account Church of Laughs?
Yeah.
By the way, Justin sent that to me originally.
Is that where?
Yes, that's where that came from.
This Instagram account is pure gold. Pure gold. I will lay in bed often and I am laughing, just weeping, and say to my wife, like, you've got to watch this. And we're an hour in just watching these videos. And that's where I found that great song. It was, I mean, they're dead serious. Like these aren't a joke. It's a church that came up with that song. Yeah, it's good.
I mean, there's multiple of them, right? I mean, we played another song last week, but there's hundreds of songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially guys like Kenneth Copeland.
Yeah.
And trying to blow the Rona away. Yeah.
And blow the wind of God.
The wind of God.
On you.
On you.
You are destroyed forever.
Sorry.
It's usually what I say when I get Mexican.
I've got that on ready to roll now.
You guys gave away the big moment for church on Sunday.
Oh, man.
Dang it.
This won't come out till Monday, so you're okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Unless anybody's watching the live stream, then it's
let's check.
It's fine. Justin, how you been?
Two, and one of them's me. Sorry.
You know what, man? I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Healthy. We live in crazy, weird times. But I don't have much to complain about. Whenever I get down, whenever I get frustrated, I go to Church of Laughs. That's my medicine of choice. So no, man, I'm good. Our family's good. Church is good. It's weird, but it's a new life.
And there's new construction that's happening too, right?
Yeah, there is. And I got a fancy new hat. Did you see?
Look at that.
Hat? Man.
That looks good.
Best motorcycle shop in town. I'm telling you, you need a new motorcycle? You go see.
Man, how much am I paying you for this?
Absolutely nothing.
Just hats.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just hats.
Just in hats. Mojo, how you been doing?
I'm exhausted.
Dude.
I think I'm a straight up lie. I'm exhausted, but I'm grateful because not to sound like I'm humble bragging, but man, I'm in business for myself, and the law of economics, I should not be doing any business right now. So
right, yeah,
just with what's going on and uncertainty, but man, we've been covered up. So today was my fourth 16th hour day in a row. So yeah, I think my hourly wage is about $2.13 an hour. So I'm hoping yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like an average server making $2.13 with no tips right now, but that's just how life goes. All of us are healthy. We're cohabitating our family together without murder, so that's pretty cool. That's as a bonus. Right, I don't know. I have nothing to complain about. I'm looking forward to my personal belief that we should open the economy back up. I'm looking forward to that because I know a lot of people out there struggling right now. And so hopefully we can be a source of encouragement there. And while they're sitting there waiting for the time to come back. So how you been doing?
I'm good. We had Hot Pocket go to my uncle-in-law's this past week. And wow. So he, sorry, I had a little issue there. I thought we weren't recording. So he went to my uncle-in-law's. He left Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we're going up tomorrow, Friday. Guys, I had this idea that, as the 8-year-old leaves, and then it's just us and small batch, that we were going to have this crazy romantic time that even though like we had to work, we could still, get some snuggles in, some hello time, whatnot. Guys, that is the farthest thing from the truth. We get done with at small batch at 10:30 and we just collapse. Like work is killing us. We're covered up at work. We just are exhausted and we're just like, we'll get to it tomorrow. And then we get to it tomorrow. And then tonight we were down in Harrisburg. We went and grabbed some dinner and then we ate it at the Harrisburg Library as a nice, wonderful little date night. We went to the back. They have these nice rocking chairs. So we're just sitting there quiet. And that was our date night. We went to the closed library and ate our dinner on some rocking chairs at the library. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like it could be a Bachelor episode because it's so romantic.
Sounds illegal, but to me.
That's what I was
It
about to
probably
say.
is, 100%. Yeah.
6 weeks ago, that would have been considered loitering in a parking lot waiting for a drug deal. Now it's considered romance night.
Well, there was a car that kept circling, and Jessica's like, I don't think that they're here for the library. So I think they were scoping it out for a drug deal.
When are they going to leave so we can eat our dinner? That's what they were thinking.
That's probably what they were thinking, right? But I did come to the surprise yesterday, I think it was, when I opened up the old USAA account and bam, there's a stimulus check. So appreciate that. Way to go, government. Thank you
Yes,
all.
sir.
Thank you, government.
I got mine yesterday morning. I didn't do a dang thing for it. I didn't even have to work for it.
Well, you have. You pay taxes.
There's that.
Yeah, I just sit my back.
Justin says, no, I don't. As a matter of
Well,
fact.
okay. Maybe you're exempt. Actually, I like that. Maybe we should start claim myself as a religious organization. I wonder if I can do that.
Welcome to the Church of Southern Fried Philosophy.
Church of Mojo.
If you'd like to give your tithe, please do so at Patreon.
Oh man, I had a moment though that this is what it feels like to do nothing and get paid. It was
that's what's scary. There's a slippery slope there, my friend. Jess and I, we were in a car accident a while ago, 11 years ago actually, because this popped up on the Facebooks the other day, and for a whole month, like we were off, we got paid for it. I was like, this is fantastic. I understand why people do this for their whole life. It's great. So yeah, it's a slippery slope, my friend. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.
So I did also want to point out one thing, and I sent this in the Slack app to all of you. And I got a little bit of, I won't want to say beef, but you guys were kind of poking fun or being very quiet about when I made meatloaf this week. I finally, broke in. I was like, we've talked about meatloaf this whole time. I'm going to make the meatloaf. I got all my ingredients there, took a picture, said, hey, I'm starting the meatloaf. I took a few pictures while I was going through the process. I think even Brian, you said, is it done yet? Or no, I think that was Ryan.
No, that was
Magic Man said, is that done? I was like, no, I haven't even put it in the oven yet. You guys are poking fun of my meatloaf. It was delicious, by the way.
Was it Uncle Leon's recipe?
It was not Uncle Leon's recipe. In fact, he asked, he wanted to know, Justin, on Ask a Pastor, have you ever made meatloaf? And if you do, how do you like it? And this part is brought to you by Watchman Cigars.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Sorry.
Thanks for that. We will now get sued, and Apple will not carry our podcast. Appreciate that. So this segment brought to you by Watchman Cigars. How do you make meatloaf, Justin?
My wife makes meatloaf.
Okay.
And I think she's actually watching on YouTube right now.
Oh. Okay.
And but she puts this like barbecue sauce base sauce on top,
Mhm.
I'm not a fan because my mom, growing up, she made meatloaf and she put that ketchup based on top of that meatloaf, and I loved it.
Boom.
And it was a point of tension in our marriage. I wanted her to make it like my mama made it,
Mhm.
and so it took me, I don't know, 15 years, I think, to convince her to put a different topping on it. And this last time, just a couple weeks ago, she made that meatloaf, and I was on the way home from work, called her, and she said she was making meatloaf. I said, fingers crossed, what kind of topping you putting on it? And she said, I put the ketchup on it.
Mhm.
And I'm going to tell you, it was glorious.
There
It
you
made a
go.
world of a difference. So
There it
You got
is.
a wife full of grace there, because my wife would have told me to make it my damn self.
Well, now we got kicked off of YouTube for saying curse words. I'm just kidding.
Fortunately, I chose to. It's not made for children, so you know.
Okay.
We're on YouTube Kids.
Yeah,
I
we're not
wasn't
YouTube
poking
kids.
fun. Biggun, I wasn't making fun of your meatloaf. I'm just curious about the ingredients. You know, that's what my whole
I
thing
understand.
is.
And it's
What's-
a weird combination. I understand. There's eggs. There's
Sure.
club crackers because I was just out of the saltines, so I had to use club crackers.
Okay.
Mustard.
What's the honey do? Is that in the ketchup or something? Is that mixed with the ketchup?
Now let's be clear. It's not actual honeydew. It's not the fruit.
No, honey. No, what does the honey space do?
Right. So kind of like what Justin was saying, it's the glaze on top. So I'll get the hamburger or the meatloaf, then I'll poke my holes all through the meatloaf, and then I'll
glaze it with honey,
and then the ketchup.
What?
Is this like diabetes loaf?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
I've got some over here if you want to come get it.
I can't. Social distancing.
I'll put it out on the front porch.
Listen, I just want to make sure that I say that I eat whatever my wife makes.
She's getting on you, isn't she?
I know she's not. I'm just saying. Like, I don't complain. I probably make dinner a couple times a month, and that's usually on the grill. And but I eat whatever, and I just usually won't have seconds or leftovers if, like with the meatloaf with the barbecue sauce, just not my jam. But this time, I not only ate it for dinner, but then the next day I also had it for lunch because it was so good.
Sure.
I want to ask you, do you guys, whenever you make hamburgers, like you get the hamburger and you do your own patties, do you guys put eggs and breadcrumbs and Worcestershire? I don't know how to say that.
That's
word.
meatball.
But I put it all in and make my hamburger. I've done it twice in the last couple weeks. Dude, it's delicious, man. And it keeps the burger together. It keeps it together. It doesn't fall apart on the grill. So it's kind of like meatloaf, right?
Let me get this straight. Leon makes his meatloaf like hamburgers, and you make your hamburgers like meatloaf.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
So maybe I do make meatloaf in patties,
And cook them on a grill.
And cook them on a grill.
I'm going to have to teach you the proper burger patty technique with no breadcrumbs or milk or cereal crumb, whatever you use. Yeah, that's not even right.
I made hamburgers yesterday for lunch because I have like 40 pounds of hamburger meat right now. And it's meat. I put like garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper. And I made a ball and I pressed it on the griddle on the grill. And on the outside of my grill, I have a griddle that goes in the air. That's it. No falling apart.
My go-to is a couple tablespoons of Dijon mustard, Grey Poupon. Splash of Worcestershire sauce, some dehydrated onions, salt, pepper. Yeah, good stuff.
I'd eat that.
I will say, next time your wife makes meatloaf and does the ketchup on top, put some honey on there. Now you're on to something, Chief.
All right, that's good.
So anyway,
I think we need to hook you and Leon up so y'all maybe can collaborate on a recipe and figure out what the world's happening, what's going on. I mean, you got to think. 6 weeks ago, we had a booming economy. Everybody's working. Now we got people making meatloaf on the grill and baking hamburgers.
I don't know. The world has gone to hell in a hamburger bun. I did mention a couple weeks ago that I have hooked up on the Robinhood app thanks to Mojo because I was bored and I wanted to do some investing. So I just wanted to get some money and I threw it at it. I'm doing so well now. I decided we're going to do a segment called Big and Stock Tip of the Week. So, so I'm going to give you my stock tip that I have invested in and tell you how well I've done. This is big balling, it's big spender right here. Guys, I have bought 2 shares of Peloton, the little bicycle thing, that makes you work out and stuff. I figure people are at home, that they are, needing to work out and do fun things like that. So I bought it. What does it? I thought it said what I bought. Oh, sorry. I bought 2 shares at $27.81 a piece. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they are at $34.10.
Woo!
Man, big ballin', making it rain. That's all I do. So Peloton, I appreciate you. That's big and stock tip of the week.
When is yours coming in the mail now? They sending you a Peloton?
God, no. They know better.
Talk about the Peloton for a second. That is a unique business model. I guess a couple of the companies have come out with that now, but you basically pay $2,300 for the bike and then $40 a month for membership.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Well, of course, you don't get hit by cars either. So I guess maybe that's safe, but
is that the one that has like video built into it so you can see?
Yeah. It's got the video built into it, and they yell at you and make you feel sad and bad about yourself.
Can you plug an Xbox into that?
Oh, that'd be a good idea. What if you Fortnited while you're Pelotoning?
Sure.
That might hurt the bike. I don't think the warranty's up for that. Anyway, so that's big and stock tip of the week. One thing also I want to talk about, have you guys seen John Krazsiski's SGN? It's it's something good news. So good news. Mm-hmm. And he started like a CNN type news show on YouTube called SGN, So Good News. And it's only about good news. Have you got mm-hmm. Justin, you've seen it?
I have.
It's very good. It's very well done.
Some good news.
Some good news. Sorry about that.
News, yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, it should be so good news if I was going to do it. But very creative. The first episode, he had a connect with Steve Carell, mm-hmm. and they talked about The Office and some of their favorite memories and whatnot of that. And then on last week's episode, they had a little girl that missed going to Hamilton. And then they had the whole cast of Hamilton sing the song to her, which I thought that was really cool. I haven't seen this week. Have anybody else seen it?
I clicked on the link in the show notes and watched about 30 seconds.
Oh, and then you were out.
He's really funny.
What got me is he doesn't sound like Jim from The Office.
Oh, okay.
Like he's got this Boston, like real heavy Boston accent coming out. That just totally threw me off. I couldn't handle it.
He's the same guy that plays Jack Ryan on Prime, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that show.
Right. That's a good one.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So if you guys are, need some good news, check it out. The link to his YouTube channel is on our show notes. All right, so let's go into some wacky news brought to you by 1812 Barbecue. I just talked to Eric last week. He is still kicking out some barbecue using his new smoke pit master thingy. I have no idea what it is, but he did say he's going to put it on Facebook whenever he's open. You can go by. If you're in the Concord area, Harrisburg area, Mint Hill area, go by and see our friend Eric at 1812 Barbecue. Guys, being at home, I have been saying some statements that I thought that I would never say at all. Things that my dad would say. And I said, I'm never going to say things like that. Dad, that's so stupid. Why do you say things like that? And now with the 8-year-old home, I've been saying these things a whole lot more. Do you guys experience dad quotes?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I did a list of 5 things that I've been saying, and you guys please feel free to join in with yours as well. The top number 5 for me is you are using way too much ketchup. Do you guys deal with those too? Like, Mojo, I could tell you, you're using way too much Chick-fil-A sauce. So whatever it is, But do you guys say that?
I just go through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru so I can replenish our butt wipe paper. So the courtesy napkins. Yeah.
Yeah, I've given up the ketchup fight. Like I don't put ketchup on anything. Or almost nothing.
I don't either.
Except meatloaf.
The occasional meatloaf. It just depends on if it needs it or not. I don't even put it as a sauce, but we can have that later. But my wife literally asked for the largest bottle they could find at Harris Teeter the other day. Like, we had to add it onto our pickup order. She just find the biggest one in the store and sell us that, because every meal, that's the only way you can, make kids eat anything in my house. Apparently,
Gotcha.
my daughter.
Okay, so it's for the kids. Got it.
Well, my wife likes it too, but
Okay.
not like they do.
Do you guys have any old man sayings you want to bring up?
I do.
I hope your kids are just like you.
My kids got me an entire calendar, 365 dadisms. And we go through them about once a week. I'll grab a hold of it because we don't do it every day. And they're hilarious, man. Like some of them I've never said, but some of them I totally say. And I'm drawing a blank right now, the things that I say to my kids. They could tell you. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now.
I think I'm pretty sure I'm going to follow in the footsteps of like my grandfather, because I can find myself saying things that he did. I'm going to be that old curmudgeon guy going to the counter, just sitting there taking up people's time and arguing with everybody. But he used to yell at us for air conditioning or heating the outside when we keep the door open too long. So I find myself constantly saying it to my oldest, because she thinks she can walk the dog by standing with a leash at the door and letting the dog walk out with the door open. So I just find myself saying that also. Yeah.
One thing my kids think, some of my kids' friends get paid to do chores around the house. And one of the things my dad always said growing up was, you do get paid. You've got a roof over your head and food on the table. Right? And so I say that weekly to my children. Like, yeah, your payment is you've got a roof over your head and food on the table. So anytime you want to go out and live in the backyard and go hunt down a rabbit, just go right ahead. So
Peacocks, right?
Peacocks. Yes, we've got lots of peacocks around our house. So, they eat those things in some places in the world?
They eat everything somewhere.
I thought you meant the kids.
That's going to be
that would be China.
It's going to be the next corona outbreak. It's going to be a peacock in a wet market.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of those sayings. I found myself saying things to my kids all the time.
Okay.
And some of these are old man, and some of these just things you never thought you'd say as an adult.
Sure.
I say, I'm not going to tell you again a lot. I said, this seems to be happening. Stop blowing bubbles in the bathwater. Because that's gross, right?
That's right.
Right. Do you know what's in there? Yep. And did you taste it first? Because ketchup. You might not need ketchup.
Sure.
Maybe I make food that doesn't need ketchup.
Do your kids put ketchup on steak?
Now, see, I was really proud when my daughter first started eating solids. I made like a ribeye or a New York strip or something, and she was eating that with horseradish sauce at like 2.
Okay.
And now it's chicken nuggets and ketchup, like all the time.
And that was a downgrade, right?
Yes, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
How many of you say to your kids, because I told you so?
Oh, that's my next one on the list.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it like that. Yeah, absolutely.
I say that. I bet I say it 15 times a day. And I swore I would never say it. Like, I'm going to have conversations with my children. We're going to talk through the why.
But why, Dad?
My version of that is, what did I say? What did I say? That comes out of my mouth so many times. What did I say?
Nice.
Yeah. And there's a lot of counting in that, just as an appearance, I think.
Yeah.
And there's never any predetermined what happens at the end of the countdown. No one knows what happens. I don't know what happens when I get to 1 or 10 or whatever it is.
Well, because you would never make it a 10. We'll give it from 8 to 9. 9 1/4.
I've had to make something up on the fly before, but rarely. It's not premeditated. and we'll count to 3, and then you're getting kicked out of the house or something. It's always,
Yeah,
usually
at
I
this
like to
point,
get
like
there.
I have to pull out the tape measure and be like 3 4/64. Like where did that come from?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
kids are, I guess, to the age now that it's just, if you don't do what we say, you're going to wash every window downstairs. That's the new one. Like, you are going to clean every window in the downstairs of our house. If you don't go back to bed and stop getting out of bed, you're going to wash every window in the downstairs. So, mommy and I are going to bed. You'll be washing windows. Good luck.
Have you had to enforce this yet?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And they've done it.
They wash every window in the downstairs, man. Yeah.
That's genius.
They're screaming and gnashing of teeth, but I'm in charge. That's one. I tell them constantly, this is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. A weekly basis, I look at them and I say, this is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship.
It's Russian communism.
Actually, you're right. It's a microcosm of communism.
I feed you, I pay you a house over your head, and you do what I say.
You make this, I take it if I want it.
That's right. That's right. Everything you have belongs to me. You have nothing. So, yep. Go ahead.
The one that I've been doing with my dad a lot, because we're trying to talk more often, is I guess we're playing phone tag. I go back and forth, like I'll leave a message or he'll call and I'll back and forth. So, and I said that, I was like, you idiot, like why did you say that? So
I remember our oldest, when she was a little kid, we'd try to get her to eat, and the old classic saying, if they're starving kids in China or whatever, they'd be grateful for food. Well, she looked at us and she goes, cool. I was like, that's just horrible. Why would you say that? She goes, well, it's cool that I have food. So that immediately broke me of saying that, because that automatic quick wit response. I was never that clever when I was her age. So.
Well, there's kids starving in China, and now they're eating bats, and now we have to stay inside.
It's your
fault.
Happened? Yeah.
Wait, we got to stay inside?
I said this one also this month is we get to stay here another month. I paid the mortgage. I was like, oh no.
My wife just texted me and says, I brought you into this world. I'll take you out.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Ryan, you haven't chimed in. Do you have any old man sayings?
Get off my lawn! No. No, I don't have any kids, so I can't.
But you're an old man.
You're still an old man.
Hey, of everybody here, I am the oldest. I am your elder.
There you go. There you go.
I do harshly judge my daughter's music, just like my parents judge my music.
100%.
So I that's no specific comment, but I think it's something that's passed down generation to generation.
What is this crap?
Yeah, my kids aren't old enough for that yet. They just listen to what I listen to. My daughter does listen to JoJo Siwa. And listen, man, like, it's good. It's positive. I listen to it, and if it's not positive, she's not going to listen, so I listened to it. I was like, you know what? I could dance to this. So we had a few dance parties to do some JoJo in the Wallace household. So,
well, thanks for joining, Justin. I appreciate you coming on tonight.
I think we need to probably introduce her some Petra or Carmen from the 80s. That would be better.
There you go.
Beyond belief.
We reenact the champion. That was always my
yeah.
Oh man, me and my cousins we reenacted champion like every Christmas.
Me and the youth group, we always fought on who would be Jesus. I never won that fight.
We always had the Bible camp or the summer retreat where you lean on me. You had the skit with lean on me too. So yeah, we need to teach her that instead of some JoJo Siwa.
Down with the DC talk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, those things get played on our Google Home all the time as well. Don't worry, guys.
Nice.
We'll break into some 90s Christian music. Yeah, I've introduced them to all those things.
Dude, we belted out that Caedmon's Call 40 Acres.
Oh, great album.
Crushed that album.
Oh,
great album.
Yeah.
I remember when Caedmon's Call first came out. Yeah, that was good stuff.
Great album.
Jesus Freak was still the best album of DC Talk.
Yes. 100%.
Yes.
Well, Free at Last. Free at
Yeah.
Last was pretty epic. Jesus
But one of
is
my
all right.
one of my favorite of all time was Rich Mullins before he passed his last album. I cannot remember the name of that album now, but that was probably one of my favorite of all time. Nothing to total polar opposite of DC Talk and whatever, but
still good though.
There's some classics out there, like For Him, Stephen Curtis Chapman, Michael W. Smith, Amy Grant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I grew up listening to all that.
I think we need to bring it all back. That was great stuff.
Yeah.
The last one I wrote down, and we can move on, is, do you guys do this when you're driving down the road and you have to announce every time you see great gas prices? Like, oh, it's $1.47.
Yeah. I haven't seen this since I was a junior in high school.
Right. Yeah, you have to tell where you were at in life when you saw it that low.
Yeah, yeah. And my son has an appreciation for the gas prices now. So we'll be driving down the road and Marcus will say, "Oh, Dad, it's $1.72."
He's an old man.
He gets really excited. And I'm like, "Oh, dude, it is."
But you know what, though? The prices are exciting, but it's not like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, well, Nicole, I got to go across town because I saw gas a nickel cheaper, burn 20 minutes and 30 miles later.
I've never been that guy. I have never cared.
I think my father still does that.
I just pull into the cleanest looking place and get gas.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
My dad has literally crossed state lines before for cheaper gas. And
Well, when I lived in South Charlotte, I would do that because you go right across over to South Carolina and it was 20 cents cheaper or more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you a couple weeks ago, I told my kids, it was like 2008, whenever we went out to California and gas was almost $5 a gallon. Mm-hmm. And you should have saw their face. Like, it was what? Especially now when it's $1.75, $1.80, whatever, $5 a gallon, So in our lifetime, we've seen it under $1 when I was in high school.
Yep.
And we've seen it in 2008, 2009, almost $5 a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge, huge swing.
Speaking of old men, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember one time I had a cousin from California come out here. This is back, 98 or so. So the gas prices out here were still fairly low. And they were paying for $3 or $4 a gallon out in California. And we stopped at one of those gas stations in South Carolina heading down to Florida. And she took pictures of the gas sign just so she could prove to her friends that the gas prices were so high where she lives and they were so low out here.
It's probably 85 cents in South Carolina.
Yeah.
But at that time, it probably was. Yeah. Back in 98.
It was under $1, 98. That was my senior year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I bought it today. Just FYI at the Harris Teeter in Harrisburg, $1.45.
Shut up.
Well, I use my Harris Teeter little thing. $1.45.
I drive a diesel, so I'm always screwed.
Yeah, you are. Remember when they did the hybrid? Or did they still do the hybrid gas, like the corn gas?
Ethanol, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any E85 around here because my car will take it, but I haven't seen any in Charlotte.
Quick Trip's got it.
Where?
Usually. I've seen it at Quick Trip, but maybe not here. Maybe it's South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
I've seen it before.
Up from your house on 49, up by the convention center. That's the one place you can get E85 because that's what we get for like the lawn mowers and all that. That's what we get.
Okay, I'm gonna try that out.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Indonesia is having a little bit of a hard time keeping people inside. Their president Joko Widodo, which, hey, by the way, that's what our president's name should be, has been slow to react to the coronavirus pandemic and resisting national lockdown. So at the capital of Jakarta has ordered a 2-week closures of offices. They banned gatherings of more than 5 people, but has not directly ordered people to stay home. So there has been a new way to get people to stay at home. Since Indonesia loves all things horror, the archipelago folklore contains hundreds of tales of ghosts and ghouls. What a better tool to keep people indoors than ghosts. So a group of youth in the Kipul in central Java decided to recruit volunteer ghosts to patrol the streets, hoping that the sight of them would send anyone home running and hiding in their beds under the covers. They get white shawls. They paint their face white and black, and they just pretend like they're ghosts. So people that are just walking around, they just walk up to them, or they're just standing still. And when they turn a corner, there's these ghosts. And by the way, I've seen these pictures, and they're quite freaky. So they're hoping that this would send people home and just stay there. But alas, it's backfired, and people are enjoying getting pictures and selfies with them.
Right?
So it backfired, and now everybody's going out to try to find them. So they were on a schedule, and so now what they've decided to do is do a random schedule or a random time when they go out. And now they're just trying, instead of being in groups, they're just they're scattered about. So then that's going to be a little bit more scary. But they dressed as ghosts, and you can see it on our show notes. But some of these things are terrifying. Did you guys look at the pictures?
Yeah, I was looking at the picture.
Oh, would that freak you out?
Yes.
Turn the corner and hey, buddy, there that is. I'm not going to do that. So that's one way we could do it. Talk about keeping somebody at home. This woman needs to be staying at home. A pregnant woman carjacks a news van with a reporter still inside. A pregnant Georgia woman found herself in the police custody Tuesday after authorities say that she hopped behind the wheel of a CBS news van and sped off before crashing it nearby. A frightened reporter was still inside. The incident occurred just after 5:30 a.m. on Tuesday as Atlanta police responded to a single car crash near 17th Street in Midtown Atlanta. According to the report, officers arrived at the scene to find a wreck, a Honda Highlander that crashed on the security gate of a local apartment complex. They arrested a pregnant woman nearby. She had minimal scratches on her, but the reporter said that she was glad that everything was okay and she didn't have any harm as well. They say that the pregnant woman may have been intoxicated. Thoughts?
May have been.
may have been.
Nice. What'd she do?
That's
Threaten
actually-
to have the baby in that van? So she took it.
Maybe.
That's the most newsworthy thing we've heard in the last 6 weeks besides Corona.
Yeah.
She said that when the van took off, the news reporter said, I pleaded for her to stop, but she did not. So I just put on my safety belt and I was going to be okay. So she obviously didn't make it very far. She crashed. She didn't even get outside of the apartment complex. So, yeah, I think she was probably a little bit tipsy.
Maybe she had the sugars going on.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all, she was pregnant.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe she had a hankering for like pickles or ice cream, and she didn't have a car. You know, we can think the best here.
You think so?
Maybe she just drives like a woman. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Send your emails to Mojo at SFP Radio. Producer Brian, do you have any SFP headlines?
Well, I just dropped another article in the doc here. I want to hit you guys with real quick. I literally just saw this when I was looking at one of your other articles, but new website just came out. It's called Scrubhub. It's a partnership between Pornhub and Amazon Dating to spread awareness on the importance of hand washing during the pandemic. The parody site has an almost identical layout to Pornhub, but features nothing but videos of people washing their hands.
Oh my gosh.
The clips do have names that wouldn't be out of place on a porn site, apparently, but someone just made a site with people washing their hands. That's the story.
There's probably hand fetish anonymous groups out there right now that are empty because of this new website. People watching these hand washing videos.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
It's hilarious.
I'm not saying Scrubhub.com.
Scrubhub is. I didn't click on the .com link, but this was attached to that Ghost Indonesia thing. That's where I found it.
Yeah,
this kind of goes along with that. I think I sent it to you guys earlier. The Maryland police remind residents to wear pants while they go out to their mailbox.
Right.
Yep.
I saw that. Yeah, earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. And they said, this is your final warning. Guys, I live out in the country, and I typically walk outside, taking the trash out, going to check my mail with no pants on. So am I going to get arrested for this? Like, this isn't just a coronavirus thing for me. I just live out in the middle of nowhere.
Are you wearing anything else? I think that's the problem.
You think so? Well, yeah. What?
Shoes, right?
Okay.
My house slippers.
I'm picturing Cousin Eddie.
Yes. That's it.
You're fine with,
I thought that went well with the Pornhub thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Which, by the way, Scrubhub is still not. I'm still trying to Google it.
I'm not Googling. I just found the article. It's your fault.
Well,
It's your fault.
I got rid of my Covenant eyes, so Jess said if there's ever a time, this is the time to do it now.
Oh my gosh.
Any SFP headlines?
So I think that show is going to be on hold until we get this pandemic out because I do not have time to record. So unfortunately, every time I try to set aside a time, it just hasn't worked. Did you find something?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, hand washing videos.
Hand washing. Boyfriend experience. Easter Sunday night. Seductive service. Point of view. True love. Oh boy, I accidentally clicked it.
Accidentally, air quotes, by the way, people.
Oh boy, God, I don't know if I should.
This is good radio. We're gonna watch Biggun react to hand washing videos on the internet.
That's right. Go to YouTube. We're streaming it.
Guys, did you know there really are like video after video after video on YouTube of people washing their hands?
Guys, this one's titled "Thick Hunk Goes Slow and Deep in His Afternoon Quickie, Hands to Sink." Hot girl goes wild in public in premium POV while she's washing her hands.
I'm going to have to unlink this show from my Facebook page.
Well, I mean, they are legit. They're just washing their hands.
Yeah. They're video after video after video on YouTube of people teaching you how to wash your hands.
Right. But I think the funny thing is they've got dirty titles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
That's where the funny stuff is. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, they're just, oh boy. Okay. I'm going to stop this.
So, anyway.
I did see a report that you can pass the coronavirus on because you don't wash your thumbs. So if you think about it, you're just like washing, but you don't get that thumb, so it's
I get the thumb
living right there on your thumb along with other things. And so
who washes their hands without washing their thumbs?
Probably my kids. Just watch your kids wash their hands. They do it real fast, but they don't wash the thumb, and then it lives there, and then you rub your nose.
Or do a secret handshake or something.
Corona.
Or suck your thumb.
Yeah. All right, let's go to some hot topics brought to you by our friends Hook, Line, and Hero. These guys, they're a 501c3 that is there to help our veterans connect with their relationship with God while on a fishing trip. So check out our friends at Hook, Line, and Hero. Anybody have a Wuhan update that they want to talk about? Any coronavirus things that we're bringing up? Mojo?
No, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin.
Are you done? Or we're gonna bring it up or no?
You go ahead.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk about. So we talked about the stimulus check, right? Everybody got their X amount of money. Well, evidently another one is on its way. Old enough to drive a car? Then you would be old enough to receive a $2,000 a month under a plan introduced this week by two Democratic lawmakers in the House of Representatives. Under the Emergency Money for the People Act, U.S. citizens who are 16 or older and make less than $130,000 a year would receive cash payments from the federal government for at least 6 months and until the unemployment fails to pre-pandemic levels. This bill was introduced Tuesday by Rep. Tim Ryan, a former presidential candidate associated with the moderate wing of the Democratic Party, and Republican Representative, Ro Khanna, the former co-chair of Senator Bernie's recent suspended campaign. In addition to the $2,000 payments, they would also give you a $500 per child increase as well. So they say that the $1,200 is just a quick fix, but this $2,000 a month will help keep America going.
Why just 2,000? Why not 4?
$2,000.
Why not 4? Can I get a 4? Can I get a 4?
I might as well just quit.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Am I hearing this right? Per month?
Yeah.
Per month.
Where did you find this?
Business Insiders. The link is on the show notes.
Oh my gosh.
My
Right
favorite
now,
part's
Justin
the
is
name.
like-
It's the Emergency Money for the People Act.
Right. We couldn't get more creative on that one.
Did you not see the new name today of that Trump and his dodos came up with on opening the economy? Did you guys not see that?
It was Jessica talked about it on the way, but I didn't get into it.
I'll find it. I'll find it.
But $2,000 a month, guys, for every person. So that would be Nevaeh would get $1,600. Your daughter. I mean, it's fantastic, right?
Fantastic. No, it's not.
That was tongue in cheek.
I think actually what we should do, I think it'd be a wiser investment if the government just ordered 330 million printers and we just allowed to print money at our house. I mean, why not? I mean, where's the hemorrhaging stop?
Yeah.
Opening up America again.
Yeah, that's the only answer.
So instead of MAGA, it's Ugth.
I love it.
Get that fit on a hat.
Man, who was sitting in that room that came up with that?
The same people.
Guys, I got a creative name. Opening up America again.
Well, it's the same people that came up with the Emergency Money for People Act.
Oh my gosh. I mean, let's be honest though. Like if we're not going to open the economy back up, they're gonna have to just keep throwing money. I mean, they're either gonna have to keep throwing money or they're going to have to like stop everybody's mortgage payments and everybody's car payments, you know? I mean, those are the only options.
But
right?
that's not how economy works though.
No, I'm not saying
I know that. I'm just saying that.
I'm not saying that.
I know.
Saying, if you're not going to open it back up, this is the only option.
Communism.
I just don't get why we can't open it up now. There's a way to open this up without, all the naysayers and all the people out there just germaphobes. I think we can do it. You know what I'm saying? But we can't just keep handing out money. There's a thing called inflation that we're gonna, you're gonna go from right now. You go to the BJ or Sam's Club or whatever, you get milk for $2.14 a gallon, and they're actually throwing milk down the drain right now. But milk and gas are usually go trend and trend with about prices. So imagine what milk's going to be if we start just doling out $48,000 a year to people that just because we got the economy closed, it's going to create a massive inflation.
Now, don't give up Biggun stock tip for next week. I'm just saying.
Milk, you're buying milk stock?
Milk stock.
So here's the thing is what's I think hilarious to me is one, everybody who voted, Republican, they wanted less government involvement. And now we got a Yahoo who is like talking about how he has complete authority to do whatever he wants. That's fantastic. Like that's irony at its best. The other one is that whenever Bernie was running for president, the Republicans were like, no, we can't just give everybody money. And now they're like, here's all the money. Everybody, you want money.
Yeah, right there is going, I was just trying to give you $1,000. Now you all get $2,000.
I think it's all ironic. I think the Republicans, like I said, Republicans run on smaller government, and now we have the biggest government we've ever had in the history of America, and we're okay with it. And then the Democrats are all about big government, seizing control of all means, and now they're screaming fascism. So there's no happy medium, with political season right now. I mean, the election coming up, there's just no win-win situation for either party.
It's a mess, man.
Yeah. Producer Brian, you sent us an article as well about Apple and Google making apps for your phone for COVID. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I'll just read part of this article here, but Apple and Google are teaming up to create a system that would let smartphone users know when they've come into contact with someone who has COVID-19. The technology would rely on Bluetooth signals that smartphones can both send out and receive. If a person tests positive for the virus, they could notify public health authorities through an app. Those public health apps would then alert anyone whose smartphone had come near the infected person's phone in the prior 14 days. Now, this is the opt-in thing they're talking about. But it's just, to me, it's kind of a potentially polarizing thing. Because on one hand, it sounds great because wouldn't you like to know the person you walk past at the grocery store may have passed something on to you, and because you were in the same vicinity as them. So there's two sides to this. Hold on, I'm gonna get to it.
Okay.
A way to know without knowing who, like you just know you were exposed. You don't know who exposed you, essentially, is what they're talking about here. The other side of this is how much is too much, with like control, and they say it's gonna be private, but this can be taken out of context real quick. I feel like
everybody's phones are beeping off.
Yeah.
Private.
Yeah.
But last night I'm watching CNN. Don't ask me why. I just turned it on for like 10 minutes, and they were talking about the new theory is that you are actually most contagious before you even have symptoms. So once you know that you have it, you're not like the way they described it.
Sure.
It's like it's deep inside of your system. So then you're not as, and in my mind, it's just another play on stay in your house because you don't even know you're contagious.
Sure.
Like even you're contagious before you even have it. And so then this app is irrelevant because you don't even know you have it and you're more contagious. But once you do know you have it, you're not contagious anymore. It's like, what are we talking about? I just wish people would stop talking and just say, we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. That's fine. We don't know. Right. But it's throwing out these dumb things that we all know are wacky and ridiculous. Drives me crazy.
There's nothing that can go wrong with this at all. I mean, Zoom got hacked a couple weeks ago. I mean, people, hackers going into Alcoholics Anonymous Zoom meetings and shaming the people there, them going into little church lady sewing circle virtual online things and trolling them. I mean, so just imagine if a hacker gets an account and all of a sudden starts ramping the number of users that actually have corona at the same time. It could create mass hysteria and panic if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because people right now, just imagine if it got to a point where the government released names like, all right, we had 130 new cases this week in Cabarrus County, and here are the list of names. People are going to search those like old people do obituaries in the morning to see who's there. And do you think people are going to come to help them and aid them? Oh, can we help you with, bring you some chicken noodle soup? No, they're going to segregate themselves like Leper Island. They put them off on their own.
See, and we talked about this on the SFP Insiders, and you guys were yucking it up with me. And when I was saying, guys, people's lives may be changed because they get it. And then, no, that's not going to happen. But it is happening, like people will be ostracized and can be.
But once you have it,
the tea leaf, Swami.
Profit star.
But once you have it, you're not contagious. Like you're not contagious anymore. I mean, now they're saying they can take the blood of someone who's recovered and actually use it for those who have it.
Yeah,
so
the antibodies of it.
Yeah, the antibodies. So it's like, I don't know.
One of the interesting things about this is that it opens up this kind of discussion or argument about privacy, I guess, with what data is, who has it, who can get to it, health data. Because the truth is, this technology is already out there. It's already being used. Because Apple, for one, has a product coming out called AirTags that is using like your phone. It's talking to basically creating its own little network to help find lost items. So your phone's talking to other phones already, and it's supposedly encrypted, but it's sending location data so that if one of these tags shows up, like if you drop something in a parking lot somewhere and someone else with one of these products, Apple products, walks by, you can like pinpoint your stuff because of the networks and the way they're attached to each other and stuff. So the technology is already there. They're just repurposing it for this virus stuff.
Well, also, I mean, we talked about the technology last week, I think, with the state reports coming out as far as the states that have lockdown and the amount of travel per average mile or whatever for citizens. And a couple of weeks ago, or last episode, South Carolina they had the average citizen moving 3.2 miles a day,
right?
Traveling. So obviously they're not getting that through mail-in opt-in surveys. I mean, they're getting this through technology, obviously through our cell phones, which is the most commonly owned item probably amongst all of us. So there's data out there. I mean, this, for people who love data collection, this is their World Series right now during this coronas.
How many of you guys would sign up for the COVID-19 thing? We'll just go down the list. Magic Man, would you sign up?
No.
Justin?
No.
Brian?
I don't know. I haven't given enough thought to give a solid answer on that.
You know Mojo's a no, right?
I'd sign up for herpes first.
All right, so I'll take that as a solid maybe. All right, I got it. I'm also a no for it as well. I think I'm trying to shelter in place as much as I can.
That's the other thing, like something this, if it was helpful, if we could prove that it would help people, it should be opt out, I would think, and not opt in. Like you have to volunteer out of it because so many people won't even pick up their phone and touch it. So if we found out that this could really save a lot of lives and keep people from spreading the disease, no one's going to opt into it. That's the problem, So it wouldn't work if it could work.
Yeah, but wouldn't that? I mean, that's still an invasion of privacy, though, and that's one thing we pride ourselves on, supposedly in this country, is having that. You're getting there with the Fourth Amendment as far as search and seizure. That's why we had all the data collection. It's been the riff with with Snowden when he came out with the data collection, data dumping, stuff like that. People are taking your data and using it. We're still giving up a little bit of security, or still giving up a little bit of liberty for a little bit of security. And at the end of the day, we're not really getting any security. I mean,
we worship security.
Yeah, and yeah,
but we'll give it up for free.
What do you mean?
Like if you ever signed up for a free service, they're using your data. I mean, that's their currency. Mm-hmm. It's not free. They're using everything you click on and selling it. So
totally. Yep.
Well, I mean, we're giving up a piece of our liberty right now, and it's coming in the form of $1,200 auto draft or auto deposits into the bank account with stimulus. I mean, how many of us would rather be working right now versus, in a responsible manner? I'm not saying we go out there and start licking grocery store carts, but I'm saying,
Yeah, but it pays for my credit card where I paid for all my brand new shoes, bro.
Hey,
that's a joke.
Amazon's probably getting, I'm sure Amazon's got Prime Day right now.
I had to get on that preacher sneaker thing,
Oh, you got to we got to get you some extra medium shirts, though.
I would look so good in that.
Side note, did anybody watch the Joe McHale Tiger King follow-up?
No. I saw a screenshot of him in like a rubber suit or something with like Netflix tattooed on his stomach.
But one of the questions that he asked, was it Joe? Is that the guy's name?
Yeah, Joe.
Not Joe. Who's the guy, the owner that's out, that's free now?
Not John.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Jeff
Lowe.
Jeff Lowe, yeah. He asked him how many affliction shirts does he own. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's got the bedazzled jean and affliction t-shirts going on, don't he?
Mm-hmm. Justin, did you ever watch Tiger King?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Justin, we're going to ask a pastor. There was one question that was submitted via Facebook. Justin, have you ever been fired from a job?
Oh my gosh, twice. Yeah, twice in 18 months, bro.
Wow, way to go!
Yeah.
From the same job or different job?
No, although I did beg for both of them. Yeah, my first full-time ministry right out of college. I moved to a city in your favorite state, Kentucky, and yeah, man, I thought it was a great situation, and 3 months later, one of the elders met me in the parking lot and told me that they were going to let me go. And I asked if I could meet with the elders. He said yes. I met, said, hey, I was only 20. Dang, I was 22 years old, and said, I'm willing to learn whatever. And they said no. They told me to go out in the hall. They'd talk about it.
Oh no.
They said no. So moved home, was getting ready to get married, decided, well, ministries, that's what I went to school for, so maybe I'll give it another shot. And got hired at this college ministry up in Boone. And it was going awesome. We were growing, and but it was changing too much for a couple people on the board, and they got herd mentality, got all the rest of the board on their side. Both super unhealthy situations. I mean, terrible situations. And they came, two of the board members showed up at my apartment one night, and actually one afternoon, because Nicole was at work, and they said, we're putting you on a 6-month probationary period. We need you to sign this thing. They slid it over to me, all these things that I supposedly had done wrong. I said, I'm not signing that. Like, I need to talk to my wife about this. And they're like, no, just sign it. Just sign it. I'm like, I'm not signing it. Walk in the next board meeting. I say, hey guys, can we start the meeting with prayer? And two of these ladies on the board looked at me and said, we don't feel like praying tonight. And
what?
Yeah. And Nicole said it's the closest she'd ever seen to what she thought was somebody that was possessed. And they fired me. And I looked at the chairman of the board, who was sitting to my left, and said, are you just going to sit there and let this happen? He goes, there's nothing I can do. That's all he said the entire meeting. I said, guys, look, I'm willing to learn. Like I want to grow. They told Nicole and I to step outside. We came back in. They said they made the decision final. So within 18 months, I was fired from both places. Looking back at it, like the first church, the guy that got me fired found out that he was cheating on his wife. So I was just a deflection. And the ministry up in Boone, the churches found out, and I wasn't the first guy they had done this to, and they completely like disband the board, brought in a new board, and hired a guy who has been there ever since. So the ministry, I look at it as like God took a really awful situation, a painful situation for Nicole and I, and brought something good out of it. And I learned a lot through it too. I learned a lot about leadership and what not to do and what to do and how to treat your team. And so, yeah, man, I got fired twice in 18 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about working at a church or for a church, especially when you're young, and just the wake up. When was that wake up moment for you of like, oh, this is not what I expected it to be, dealing with church people?
Man, that's a great question, because I grew up in the church. So like I've been in the church since, I mean, I think, I was born and fell on the front row. I knew the church wasn't perfect. My dad was a deacon. He was an elder. My mom led worship. Like I knew kind of the ins and outs of how it all worked, but it was probably my first ministry, which was at my home church. And there was the senior minister was quite a bit older than me. I was the youth guy, and he felt super insecure for some reason. Like I'm a pretty confident person. And I just was doing my job, and he started going around to all my youth leaders and saying that I wanted his job. Mind you, I was 18 years old. And so I remember I remember distinctly where I was standing when one of my youth leaders came up to me and said, do you want, let's call him Joe. Do you want Joe's job? I was like, what? And so I think it was the first ministry. Like, whoa, what is going on? My second ministry, I remember walking in my office one day. I'd been there about a year, and had a letter sitting on my desk from the head elder of the 50 things that I had done wrong over the past year. And he never talked to me, never spoke to me about it. Wrote it in a letter, put it on my desk for me to find. And I remember just thinking, goodness gracious, like, is this how you do relationships? Is this, and for me, what was hardest was, I believe in the church. I believe the church is the body of Christ, the representation of Jesus on the earth. So when the representation of Jesus on the earth treats you like that, then it also makes you consider, would God treat you like this? Right? So that was, my darkest days were not the wrestling with the church, but the wrestling with God. Like, is this how you treat me?
So you would think that in that example, like, God is also giving you a list of all the 50 things that you did wrong that day. And one day he's just going to slide it into your Bible and be like, oh, these are all the things Justin did wrong today.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm disposable. On my worst days, I I've had to do a lot of work to see that there are people in the church that can be very destructive and very harmful. And we've all experienced that, but God does not look like that. God does not act like that. So, so, I mean, that transference, just like we can transfer, like, if you, depending on what your dad was like you can transfer what your dad was like onto God.
Yeah.
If you had a good dad, God seems to be a good father. If you had a bad dad, God seems like, if he has a distant dad, well, the same thing happens with the church. Your experience with the church then is transferred to what you think about God. So,
yeah, I never had that thought of the transference. I always knew that God was good. These people are just jerks. So like, it was just, I knew for at least for us, when we moved to Texas, it was, hey, by the way, because I said, hey, I'm a fairly liberal Southern Baptist. My wife is a pretty conservative Methodist. Are we going to have any issues? Absolutely not. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's perfect. Their youth budget, bro, they had like 20 kids and they have $13,000 in the youth budget. My previous church I was at, it was 500 for 30 youth. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, I thought I was going to give them all iPads at that point, like, we got money now. But then the first Sunday, it was like, oh, by the way, this is happening and you may have a problem with it. After we moved cross country, and we're like, wait, what just happened? Something completely not in our wheelhouse at all that we agreed with. And so we were there, and just one thing after another was just the rug being pulled up under your feet, and just not feeling like you could ever get a stable grip. And I think that for pastors, new young pastors, it's like, here's what your idea of the church is, and here's what it really is. It just feels like it's so much lower. It was such an eye-opening thing. It's just mind-blowing, just how the church is, because it's filled with people, right? People are just messed up anyway.
Yeah, but not all
tough.
places are like that. I
Right.
mean, because we like to say, well, the church is filled with human beings and human beings are imperfect. That's true. I mean, our church here in Concord is full of imperfect people. But that doesn't mean we go around treating people like they're pieces of trash that we can
Right.
dispose of. Like our elders here, like our leadership doesn't walk. I don't walk on eggshells around them. Like I'm not thinking, oh my gosh, like tomorrow I may wake up and not have a job. That's because this isn't a power play. And we've kind of missed the boat when we say, well, the church is full of imperfect people and imperfect people hurt people. Yeah, that's true. But that doesn't mean they use their power to strong arm and move people and manipulate people, which is what I experienced.
Yeah.
I've experienced that in several places throughout my ministry where people literally are hungry and lust for power. And when they lust for power, they're willing to do anything to anyone to make sure they get their way.
Yeah. I mean, it blows my mind just the little bit of power that people start off with, and just how it multiplies. And now they've got this giant head and think that they're the biggest thing since Jesus.
I'm very proud of myself.
You can't always get what you want.
Incredible. Sorry.
That was perfect.
I mean, just like that. It starts off a little bit and then it just keeps rolling and rolling. It's tough, man. It's tough. I left ministry and I never looked back. Paid ministry. I wouldn't want to jump into that ever again. And I think that that resonates with so many pastors, youth pastors, music ministers that we're just done. We're just burnt out.
Yeah.
It's just tough. It's a tough gig.
Yeah. I don't know what well, for me, it was like, I didn't feel like I had any other options. And I don't know if that was true or if that was just God saying, like, I know you feel like you've been run over by a Mack truck, but this is what did it for me. After I got fired, the first time I moved home to my parents' house, I was getting married the next summer. And dude, I was in such a dark place. My dad came in and said, hey, where are you applying for jobs? And I was like, the only thing I know how to do is ministry. The second time I got fired, I was put into contact with a guy named Dean Troon. And we went up, he lived in East Lansing, Michigan. My wife and I went up there, had breakfast with him at a Burger King. Dude, I was a broken, shattered human being. And I was just shot. And he looked at me and said, my favorite leaders are broken leaders. And
Wow.
And he kind of just like picked me up off the pavement and said, I'm in it with you, and I want to see you do what God is calling you to do. And he empowered us to start a ministry here in Charlotte. And man, the way that like he walked alongside of me and cared for me and nurtured me is really what saved my ministry, like saved the ministry that God had called me to whenever I was in high school. So I don't think I would have made it. I don't think I would have went into the next place if he wouldn't have sat in that Burger King with me. So
yeah, and that's huge, because if you step away or you walk away, it's rare that you have somebody that will be there to support you, that will help pull you out of that.
Yep.
I know I didn't have it, Jess didn't have it. That was a mentor that we had, and maybe that's the key is, we all need mentors.
Yeah, man.
Through that, but I'm happy with where I'm at. I think that God had a plan for my life in youth ministry, and no doubt about that. I also feel like He's also led me on another ministry path that I'm on. So I'm not out of it, but golly, I would not want to go back to paid stuff. But I say that, but I'll probably try it next year. So, Justin, our listeners, I mean, obviously we know the deal. We're all stuck at home. We're all trying to figure out what we're doing and how we can survive. What words of hope or encouragement do you have for our listeners that are just, they're at home, they're struggling, they're hurting, they need somebody to give them some hope? What do you have for them?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to not hear, and this is just my opinion, but is something that has not been helpful to me is hearing a combination of one of two things. Either we're never going to go back to normal. That is not helpful.
Right. Sure.
Or we're going to go back to normal. Neither one of those to me is helpful. And the reason it's not helpful is because here's a news flash. You can't recreate yesterday.
Yeah, preach it. Come on now.
So you can't make America great again. It is a empty, false promise, because outside of the movie Back to the Future, you can't go back to the glory days. So I was just thinking about this morning. I was reading in Mark chapter 2, verse 22, where Jesus talks about the new wineskins and the old wineskins. And he says, you can't put new wine into old wineskins. You can only put new wine into new wineskins. So what I gathered from that was I can't expect to experience what Jesus has for me tomorrow if I'm stuck in yesterday. So I need to be in tomorrow so that I can see the things, the will of the Father unfold in front of me. And I remember one of my favorite memories growing up was my brother and I would play outside. We had this piece of concrete in front of our house, and we would take our Hot Wheels and we would have races with them. And we would create tournament brackets, and we had all of these awesome Hot Wheel cars. Dude, we would do this for hours every summer. And I just look back at that and I'm like, when people say, if you could go back to one age, where would it be? I was about 11 or 12 years old. Baseball was awesome. Playing Hot Wheels. Like, we had a pool in the backyard. I mean, it was wonderful. It was Sandlot.
Perfect.
It was Sandlot. And then I started thinking this morning, Justin, if I could go back, I wouldn't have my 2 kids. I wouldn't have my wife. I wouldn't be at One Life. I wouldn't have the friends that I have in my life. And it was just this moment of like, if it's all about making it great again, if it's all about like going back and being normal or not normal, then I'm going to miss what's coming. So I think the hope for me is that there is more to come. Like, we're going to get out of this. Like, we will. We don't know when. I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like we know. Is it 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 3 months? I don't know. Like, but I do know we will move on. Like, we will. Every time in human history, we have moved on. Like, we will move on. And will we be willing to walk into what's new so that we can embrace it and experience it? Are we going to sit here and be and moan about wanting what was yesterday? You can't get it back. It's gone. And so we've got to be willing to take the next step into what's to come. And there is more to come, guys. Like, there is more to come. I firmly believe that in the fall, we are going to be recording a podcast face to face again. And it'll be a party, and it will be good, and it will be different, and it will be beautiful. And that's all we can do is just put one foot in front of the other and experience what's right in front of us and say, this is from a good Father, and he is going to make things good. So yeah, that's how I'm walking.
Fantastic. What has this quarantine taught you? One, about the church, and then 2, what has it taught you personally?
Well, as a pastor, I early on in this quarantine had the thought, this is why I was called into ministry. Like, there is like, when things are really good, most of the time people don't need pastors. Like, when things go really bad, that's when we can step in and be a voice of hope and shine light. And I got really frustrated with the voices on the internet saying, just stay at home. And I'm like, you don't get it. Like, this is why I was called. Like, I was called to walk into this. I was called to like show up and keep preaching, not bringing my church together, gathering, I'm not saying that, but like, I'm working every week to bring a new sermon on Sunday of hope and of light and of, like I'm dreaming about how do we care and pastor the people in our church. Like, I'm not on vacation.
Right.
I'm working harder right now than I have in the last 3 months.
Sure.
Like I'm tired. My brain is spinning. I'm working really hard because I believe that this is the moment whenever, as a pastor, I can step in and I can be a voice that people need. So I've just been learning that I can, this is not a moment for me to be divisive, but this is a moment for me to be hopeful and to be prophetic and to remind people that God is still at work and present. Personally, I'm trying to help my kids understand what's going on. And it's really tough. My son was really angry at all this. He worked so hard in January and February and March for this baseball season. Like he was playing basketball. So he was practicing with my high school baseball team that I coach. He was practicing with his own team, and he was busting his butt because he didn't have a great year last year, and he felt like he got overlooked, and he wanted to prove some people wrong. Like he had this thing in him that said, like, I'm going to come out and I'm going to show that I've got something. And he was working so hard, was taken away from him. Like, that was really tough. And so trying to, like, be able to help him really good. And I'm just really like, I'm so glad I have her. Like, she's really good at listening and asking good questions of them, and they talk to her. She said to me last night, she said, I was trying to have a conversation with my daughter, and she was done with the conversation. She got up, walked outside. She wanted to play. And Nicole just said something like, you just have to be patient. Yeah, you're right. Like, yeah. So,
oops.
Yeah. So I just learning some things about that with my kiddos.
As a husband / father, how many of those crap moments are you having? Are you having more of those or less of those?
My kids wanted to have me, but I just, I was gone, like, and I'm never going to get that back. And I'm also creating a narrative for them. Yeah. I have those moments constantly.
Yeah.
So,
well, as you tell us,
that's not God putting that on me. That's just me.
Right. Yeah. As you tell us multiple times, have grace upon grace upon grace on yourself.
Bro, yeah.
But it's
tough. It is. It's hard.
Any cars to prove it. So I'm just kidding, DSS. It was a joke. We did not do that. I promise.
Something, and you did this with Hot Pocket. I didn't know that was his name. Was the drive-through birthday party.
Yeah.
We've done 2 of those now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did one. It's today Thursday. We did. Yeah, we're recording this on Thursday. Yesterday we did it for another young lady in our church, and I just thought it was so good. Like, it lit her up. We stayed in our car. She kind of stood 6 feet away from our car. We took a picture together, and I just love that creativity and that imagination that this isn't a time for us not to celebrate,
right?
We can still celebrate, and so I love it.
Yeah. No, we've had the sprinkler out. We've, done the water the water gun fights, all the fun stuff. We've played, music real loud and sang. I'm not proud of this one. He knows Hamilton probably more than he should, with the cuss words on it, but whatever.
It's art.
So there's that. But yeah, just celebrate and be creative and figure out some fun things that you could do. Origami was another thing.
Yeah.
We learned how to do that. So fun stuff.
Yeah. Have you guys been watching? We're big sports families, so we find ourselves watching like horse. We've been watching the NBA guys and the girls play horse. We watch the NBA guys play 2K20 on, like, it's just ridiculous. One Sunday I got home and Marcus is watching the NASCAR guys are in their simulators at home playing the video game against each other. I'm like, what is happening?
Right.
And I mean, but we just got to live in the moment. We can be like, oh man, that's stupid. Or we can just live in the moment. It just is what it is. This is the new reality. We're watching guys play video games. That's our sports right now.
I'm waiting for them to start selling tickets to that because, they shut down the real race. It's way cheaper to play video game than to have a $2 million race car,
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about this on the show. I love those the marble races and the marble Olympics.
Yes.
Like, I can't get enough of that. Like, I could just rewatch that over and over again.
Dude, that guy is amazing.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah, it's interesting stuff. Speaking of, let me get your take on this. The G League for college basketball offering players $500,000 to go to a G League instead of forego college and play in their like little G League. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think people downplay how competitive college basketball is and how much it shapes these kids. And I don't think there's no way you can recreate Rupp Arena. There's no way that you can recreate Cameron. There's no way you can recreate Duke versus Chapel Hill. Like,
yes, there is $500,000.
Sure. What's $500,000 and 12 months from now you're making $13 million? I mean, yes, you can get hurt, all those things, but basketball isn't like a running
fan
back in
base
football.
Isn't the same. You're not getting that kind of energy from the people in the building.
And I don't think you're getting I think skills. I don't think you're getting I think people are downplaying what college basketball is and how important it is. In my opinion, if it were up to me, every student athlete would have to go to college for 2 years in every sport. And you'd have to get your associate's degree in business. That is mandatory. So that when you go to the next level, you have a baseline of how do I take care of my money and take care of this business that I'm now in charge of. So that would be 2 years minimum so that you can get your associates. And then you can decide after that. If you want to continue playing, you play, and you can go on and get your bachelor's. If you don't, then you can go on to the next level. And I think they should make that across the board in every sport, baseball, football, basketball, 2 years, and then you can make your decision.
Well, if you do that, then everybody's going to go to the G League then.
I would say then the NBA and the NCAA should work together. And the NCAA is not only the G League in sports, but it's the G League in business. So you're actually teaching the guys and preparing them for what is to come. And the ladies, with the WNBA, same thing. So they should work together in order to prepare these student athletes for the next level. And the preparation is not just in sports. The preparation is, can you take care of your money? Can you pay your bills? Do you know how to hire people to take care of your stuff?
Sure.
We're not preparing them for all that.
No, I thought I saw where a statistic is 1/3 of all NBA players are paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's crazy. But dude, I think the G League is going to destroy college basketball. I think they're gonna take some of the top recruits because they're going to want their money now. They know it's a guarantee into a league, and they're just going to forego it and just go straight in from high school.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I agree with you. I agree on all of those points about college basketball. But I think that at the end of the day, they're going to say, I've got to go to school and I'm not going to be able to earn money. You know, my background is my mom's struggling just to pay, put food on the table. My sister doesn't have clothes, what have you. And they're just going to take the $500K and go.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I know there's a lot of kids that come from poverty playing sports, but these kids, if you're going to make it, especially in the NBA, if you're the top 50 players, you're playing AAU from the time that you're 12.
Sure.
And you're traveling all over the country. I mean, it's not, I don't know where that money's coming from.
Shoe deals, Adidas, Nike.
Yeah, but they're not hurting. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not missing meals. They're literally, I mean, if you'll watch the shows on Netflix about the football players, from the time they're freshmen, they're playing all over the country.
Yeah.
You know, they're traveling in planes. They're staying in awesome hotels. So, and most of these guys, the top 50, they're not just coming from high school. I mean, even Wendell Moore, who came from Cox Mill High School right here in Concord, played AAU. So he played with all of these guys. Now, he played at Cox Mill, but he played, with all these dudes in the AAU system. So I just don't know. I don't know if money is enough. I think it's more than that. I think for some guys, money is the end game. But for the top 10 guys, like, I mean, money, like, in a year, I'm going to have all the money I want.
Yeah, I don't know if kids, like, again, I go back to Hot Pocket, who's 9. So, but like, it's hard to see past tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I think this G League is going to mess it up. I think it's not going to be good for college basketball. And who's going to want to watch the main red clause? Nobody's going to want to watch that. Like, but it's not going to, the main red claws aren't going to look out for that player. They're going to look at how they can make the most money, who's playing the best. They're not going to try to develop these other kids. Well, I think you're right on college. They develop them. They want what's best for the kid. They'll teach them. I know at least at Kentucky, they do finances. They do, like, out in the community stuff. They try to at least instill some of that in them, giving them, like, handlers and stuff that can teach them how to do that. So,
like, take somebody like Zion, for instance. When he came to Duke, he wasn't the top prospect. If he would have went straight to the D League, now they probably would have started to hear about him, but nobody would have watched him play.
Right.
Whereas last year, Duke was the most watched basketball team in college basketball. Zion Williamson became Zion Williamson because he was on the main stage. Like, and he could have gone to Duke, he could have went to Kentucky, he could have went to Kansas, and the same thing would have happened. But he was playing at a top level where he was on TV 2 nights a week. And so you're not going to get that at the G League. So I would say a lot of careers will go to naught because you don't. I mean, if you're not the top notch, like, dude, how many guys have been drafted and I've been watching these McDonald games, McDonald All-American games. I'm like, where's that guy? Yeah. And he got drafted in the first round, 18th overall, played in the league for 2 years and is now, like, in Iran somewhere playing.
Right.
And he was a top 25 player coming out of high school.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's good for the kids, but it's all about money. You're right. It's just making cash. That's all. Which sucks.
Yeah, and we're not kidding ourselves. And Justin, you're a Duke fan. I'm a Kentucky fan. But, we're not going to kid ourselves. Zion made Duke money,
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Davis makes Kentucky money. Like, they're making those colleges money. So it's not just, all the poor little colleges. They're getting their money, no doubt.
I wish college football would pay players something. Like, even if they paid them $50,000 a year, you get everything for free anyways. You're eating for free, you're traveling for free, your room and board's for free. So you're just stockpiling $50,000. The NCAA has so much money, they don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
They could give each kid 50 grand, every student athlete 50 grand in every sport, and it still wouldn't even put a dent in the amount of money they make.
Yeah.
Sure. So we could just end the conversation with, hey, just pay the players and be done with it.
Brandon has been gone for the past hour, so we're gonna wrap up the show.
Yeah, his computer died. So
conveniently, his computer died. So we are gonna wrap up the show. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Southern Fried Philosophy Podcast. Check us out: iTunes, Stitcher, Apple, the Apple, still iTunes Store. I'm assuming.
Yes, iTunes,
Google
Apple
Play.
Podcasts,
Okay.
Spotify.
I could change it every 10 minutes.
We're on all the places where you get podcasts.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yes.
So we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to support the show, check us out at patreon.com/SFP Radio. If you have any show ideas or any feedback you want to give to us, please shoot us email at sfpradio@gmail.com. And again, please like and subscribe and share your favorite episodes. We would appreciate that. And thanks to Magic Man for YouTube Live. Next week, we're going to try Facebook Live, so you get to see our beautiful mugs again. And we appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, keep looking up.